Hey guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. And I wasn't gonna make this video tonight, and it's really super late, and I'm gonna film it, but I don't know that I'm gonna post it. I'm kind of talking to myself right now. So if you guys are seeing this, it's with some great trepidation because I'm kind of bringing up some things in here that I don't feel safe to talk about. I'll just say, but because I've received so much negativity in regards to this, but it's a really valuable lesson, I think, about the world. And so I thought, you know what? I don't know which way I look better. It doesn't really matter, does it? I thought, you know what? I'm going to talk about this because it's something that happened to me in my day today. And I think it's something that we don't think about much as YouTubers and as people viewing videos and commenting on videos and just on social media and things like that. And I think it's something that we really need to think about. And it brought up for me a lot of memories about like my mom and like things that she had taught me and an incident that happened with me with my mom in high school. And so what happened was my mom had a couple friends of hers that she had all her life. And my mom's closest friend her entire life actually passed away 3 years before she did. But one of my mom's really good family, one of our family friends, one of my mom's closest friends called me today. And she was like, hey, I just wanted to check in on you and see how you're doing. I was like, I'm doing good. And she was like, I haven't talked to you in a while. And I was like, I know. And she was like, so we were talking for a couple of minutes and she goes, are you really okay? And I go, yeah. I go, why are you asking me that? And she goes, well, she said, her daughter brought up this video that was made about me. And she said, Peter, she goes, I watch your videos. I love hearing the stories about your mom. She goes, it reminds me of your mom. And she goes, I don't watch the other stuff in the past. And she's like, because I just didn't really understand a lot of what you were talking about or whatever. She was like, but I love the videos with Pee-Pee. And she was like, I loved the Dollar Tree hauls. And I love the story times you tell with your mom. She was like, but every time I watch one of your videos for the last couple of days, this video keeps on popping up next to it. And it has your name in the title. And I knew immediately what video she was talking about, okay? And I said, okay. And she said, so I watched the video. And she said, and I read the comments underneath. And I said, okay. And she said, Peter, she goes, I don't understand any of this. What's going on? And I said, I don't really understand either. I said, she goes, Peter, the names that these people are calling you is unbelievable. She goes, do you know these people? And she doesn't really understand the whole internet, but she understands it enough that she knows I don't know 1,000+ people on the internet, right? And this is a woman that has known me since I was born, okay? So she's been through the addiction. She's been through the sobriety. She's been through the deaths. She's been through the relationship. She's known every person I've dated. She's known my husband. She, came before my wedding and all that kind of, she has been there for all of it. This woman knows me. And she said, nothing that these people are saying about you is true. She goes, there's no truth to what they're saying about you. And she said, what happened? And I said, well, I made some videos and I poked a lot of fun at some people. And in retrospect, it probably wasn't very nice. And I took responsibility for it and I apologized. And she said, okay. So she said, you've done what you can do with it. Why is this continuing? And I said, I don't know. And she said, well, she goes, did you reach out to that person? And I said, yes, I have reached out to that person and no response. And she said, so you've done everything that you can do on your end. And I said, yeah, I've done everything that I can do. And she goes, are you suffering at all as a result of this? And I said, yeah. I said, it's hard. I said, I don't read the comments anymore. I said, they're too painful. I said, I've had a lot of people send me messages questioning my career. I've received threats. I've received death threats. I get comments on a daily basis, hundreds of comments. Okay. She said, how are you even dealing with that, Peter? And I go, honestly, I don't know. I said, I really thought about just taking my channel down. It wasn't work. She goes, oh, no. She goes, there are too many people that love your channel. I read the comments underneath your videos. She said, you have to keep on doing what you're doing. She goes, but Peter, she goes, you need to be taking care of yourself. She goes, because this is really hard. And she said, I know you. And she said, and this is a woman that has called me on my shit all my life. Okay. She's literally like my aunt. And she said, if I knew that there was truth to those allegations, I would call you on that shit. She goes, those people don't know you. There's no truth to it. And I said, well, that's why I haven't responded to it. And she goes, whether you respond to it or not is not the point. She goes, you just need to know in your heart and soul that you're not that person. And she goes, and anybody can put out anything they want into the world. She goes, anybody can say something, anybody can write something, anybody can put something on the internet that does not make it true. And she said, and all of these people are believing it because it looks like he has a lot of subscribers. So a lot of people really like him, and so they're believing what he says. And I said, that's exactly what's happening. And she said, okay. And she said, don't retaliate. She goes, that does not, you are not a better person or a bigger person for retaliating or responding. She goes, you need to continue to remember who you are and be a better person. She was like, learn from this, learn to not poke fun at people. And I said, I've done that. And she goes, but Peter, I even watched those videos. She goes, they were funny. She goes, anybody that didn't see that as a joke doesn't understand real humor. She goes, you were not like dragging those people. She didn't say dragging, but she was like, you were not like tearing those people apart. She was like, it was humor. I go, whatever it was, I said, I still feel bad about if anybody hurt as a result of it. So I was thinking about that today, or after I got off the phone with her this afternoon, and I was thinking about being careful what you say about people. Listen, I'm to blame for this too, okay? We all are. And I was thinking about it because I'm thinking about every year who I want to be in the next year, and like growing from that and all that kind of, and growing from the mistakes that I made the year before. And, when my mom was in high school, my mom was, she went through puberty at like 13 and was literally like a triple D at 13. Okay. And she was so embarrassed of her breasts her entire life. And like, she told me this story probably when I was in my 20s about how she was in high school one day, and these boys would call her a slut just because she had big breasts. And one time my grandma came to like pick her up from school or something, and she overheard these boys calling my mom a slut. And in the car, my grandma said to my mom, like, why were they calling you a slut? And she was like, I don't know, Mom, it's because of my breasts are big and things like that. And she said, so just because your breasts are big, they call you a slut? Like, you don't deserve that. And my mom said that the pain on my grandma's face from seeing these boys call her a slut was so unbelievable. And so, like, all my mom's life, when we would be talking about somebody, like if we were in a restaurant, my mom would be like, lower your voice, because you never know who is going to be behind you listening to the conversation. You never know if somebody's parent is sitting right behind you, right? You never know on YouTube who's reading those comments. You don't know whose parent, sister, child is reading those comments. You don't know who's watching those videos. It's a very good lesson for all of us, okay? So I was thinking about that, and, then when I was in high school, I was like, part of a car, like, it wasn't high school, it must have been junior high. I was like part of a carpool with like these other moms, and these moms were standing outside the car talking, and I was inside the car waiting for the other kids to come. And somehow my mom like came up in the conversation. I heard them say her name, and they were talking, and they were like, oh, she's just a horrible drunk, you know that, right? And like, it was so like, I felt so ashamed of like sitting there listening to these people talk about my mom, of being this horrible drunk. And I was like very defensive. I was like, they don't know my mom, like they don't know what I live with at home, and that she was a horrible drunk. That was what was really, really hard, but like, she was still my mom, and I loved her, and I didn't feel like they had a right to say those things about her, and then they said something about like, oh, she like dates all these different men and blah 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 whatever, which was absolutely not true whatsoever. My mom never dated around. Like, my mom, I don't even think went on a date from the time that my dad left when I was like 8 to like when I was like left the house at like 18. I think in 10 years my mom never went on one date. And they were sitting there and they're like, yeah, I heard that she like dated so-and-so's ex-husband, like when they were like separated. And so I'm like at the time like 8th grade hearing this. Can you imagine? And all of my life I've always been very, very careful of like saying things about people, and I think that like it got a little carried away, on here talking about like other YouTubers and things like that. But there's a point when it's poking fun, and there's a point when you cross the line that if somebody's family member, you know, read a comment or saw a video or saw a tweet or anything like that, that would be like my husband does not read the comments on the other people's videos. My husband does not watch those videos, okay? Because he's like, I know who you are. I know that you're not those things. And he said, I don't need to read that because it's just going to anger me. And he goes, it even angers me more that so many people have bought into this disbelief that you are this really nasty person, you know? And I got this comment on my video tonight, and it was from somebody that has never commented on my videos before, right? And I know by now, I know a lot of the people that comment on my videos. And it was on my apology video, and the woman commented, and she said, you're just a bad person, plain and simple. Like, seriously? Like, do you know me? Do you interact with me on a daily? How would you know to make that assumption about me? That I'm just a bad person, plain and simple? You don't know that. How dare you say that about somebody without ever having interacted with them? You know, one of the things that really drives my husband crazy is in the past of me talking about all of this stuff, he's like, you don't these people that have made videos about you and vice versa, and you've made videos about them. He goes, you don't know them. He goes, you know them through the internet, but you don't know them, right? And they don't know you. And they're fake personas too. Just like when you turn on a camera, you're showing a part of yourself. Well, they're showing just a part of themselves too. They're picking and choosing what you show. And so, or what they show. And so for somebody to make an assumption about me, okay, because somebody said it in the video makes it true, what is that? Just because somebody says something doesn't make it true, okay? Just because somebody makes a video about somebody, just because somebody tweets about somebody, just because somebody makes a Facebook post about somebody, just because somebody writes a blog article about somebody doesn't make it true. So where is it that on YouTube, everybody all of a sudden has chosen to believe the lie? I'm completely mystified by this, okay? And you know, it goes back to what my family friend was saying to me today when she was like, why did you not respond to this? And I'm like, I'm not willing to respond to lies. I'm just not, okay? And neither should any of you out there, okay? If somebody's lying about you, don't defend yourself. There's no reason to. But I think it's a valuable lesson as we're commenting on videos, and I'm sure this video will get a bunch of comments and people will say, fuck you, you're just a nasty person. Yeah, well, maybe. But you don't know me, so how would you know that to make that judgment? You've never had coffee with me. You've never broken bread with me. You've never ridden in the car with me. You don't know me. So to pass that kind of judgment on somebody when you watch a video about, you don't know me, and I don't know you, and I would not pass that kind of judgment on somebody else. And I think it's something that we have to really think about, you know, is what kind of world do we want to live in? Who do we want to be? You know, do we want to be positive and loving, or do we want to be hateful and nasty? Where do we want to be? And it starts within us, okay? It doesn't start, we can't point the finger and blame somebody else for that, right? It would be really easy for me to say, well, this is all about the person that made that video. Well, no, that's not true, okay? There's a lot of factors that led up to that video being made. I don't even understand half of them, and that's not the point. The point is that we each have to be careful of what we're putting out there into the world, right? I mean, because let's just be for real. If I put out a nasty video, okay, and I say Kim Kardashian, da 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 da, and then 10 people underneath, or 100 people underneath it drag Kim Kardashian, then each one of those people took responsibility for their actions and didn't drag her and say she deserves to die or something like that, right? Which she doesn't. If each person didn't say that, that would be one less comment, which means if everybody was positive and not negative, we would have 0 negative comments on that video, right? So what people are saying when they're leaving those negative comments is they're negative people. It speaks of that person. It speaks of the person leaving the negative comment. And it speaks of the person tweeting out negative things. It speaks of the person leaving negative Facebook posts. It speaks of the person making negative videos, okay? What it says is, I'm a negative person. Not me, the person doing it, okay? And I think that we really have to think about that as we go forward. Who do we want to be in this world? Do we want to be positive people? Do we want to be negative people? And it's a real easy choice, okay? This is something that we learned in kindergarten. It's how do you treat people, you know? It's the golden rule. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. pretty simple, okay? It's not deep, you know, and be careful of what you put out there in the world, because you never know who possibly might read it, see it, or hear it. And that can be really damaging to somebody. It can be really, really hurtful, you know? Especially when there's no fact behind it. Got to be careful of that stuff. So anyway, you know, it just got me thinking today and talking to her, you know, and it really pains me that she had to see the video and that she had to read those things about me. I wouldn't want anybody's aunt to have to read something like that about them or see a video about them, you know? That's painful that somebody would have to watch that and know that that's not the truth. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I just want to put that out there. And please be positive. Put positivity out in the world, and especially on my channel, we don't allow negativity. So no negativity in my comment sections. I delete it immediately. And if it's a bashing comment, I probably will block you. So I mean, not a bashing about me, but about anybody. So yeah, that's the rule. Our channel is all positivity. So woof, woof, woof pack. Love you guys. Bye.